So, Coach, just prepping for Carolina. I guess you can't, they got a whole new team. You got half a new team and new coach coming in from Indianapolis.
Yeah, so we, some of the personnel we're pretty familiar with, especially on the defensive side. They invested a lot of draft capital in the defense the last couple of years, and it's certainly paid off. And they still, in my opinion, have one of the better inside backers in the league, and Shaq Thompson. So I think this division, with him and DeMario, both of them are very, very good inside linebackers. Smart players, tough, set the tone. So we are familiar with the personnel scheme. Obviously different on that side of the ball. Giro's coming over from Denver. That scheme has been, a lot of people have gotten jobs that have kind of used their own versions of it as it's broken off. But practice against something similar down in Miami. He played something similar last year with the Rams and the Chargers. Those guys all cross paths. There's some familiarity there. But we know we got our work cut out for us. And then offensively, they've got a pretty big offensive staff, guys that come from a lot of different places. So I'm sure you'll see the mashup of that. Frank Reich, somewhat familiar with him being on the other side in Tennessee. I think he does a heck of a job. We know that a lot of things that are focused on that quarterback, and as it should be. He's a great player. They took him with the first pick overall, and they've got some veteran pass catchers, and so it'll be a battle. And then the special teams, they've got veteran special teams players. And Tabor, it was a holdover there, good coordinator. They got a lot of experience with Hecker and Jansen, and so we expect it to be a good divisional opening game.
I was going over the notes last night and told Joe to check in with you on Monday about Cordell, Hughes, and
yeah. So some of those guys will be back out there, and then but very pleased with everybody's progressing. And then as we get into Wednesday, it'll be an important day for those. We got to decide who realistically is going to be ready for Week 1. But those guys worked hard over the weekend rehabbing, but most of those guys will be back out there, with the exception of a few. And then, Wednesday we really need to see something to determine which way we'll go, especially with the game plan.
When you're preparing for a rookie quarterback making his first NFL start, what kind of a wrinkle does that throw into the preparation that you would typically do?
Well, every year there's unknown. I mean, teams change coordinators. Yeah, you may have a familiarity with the quarterback. With somebody like Bryce, I mean, he's been in a lot of big-time games and certainly been on the pressure cooker at Alabama. So I don't think I wouldn't want to speak for him, but obviously we got a lot of respect for him. I'd imagine the moment wouldn't be too big for him. He's got some veterans around him, at right tackle and in the tight end room, and then Thielen and those guys that can help him. And then he's got a veteran coaching staff. So every year there's unknown in Week 1. People save stuff. People are pretty basic in the preseason for the most part. You've seen some of the jet sweep. I mean, that's kind of standard issue in the NFL these days, and saw a little bit of it in the preseason. I'm sure they have it incorporated. And then you've got a lot of the drop back game, which I'm sure he's very comfortable with. He's a good player.
When it comes to unscouted looks, kind of like, how do you kind of coach your guys to deal with that, and what do they fall back on to deal with that? Because in Week 1, it seems like you're probably
go back to your training. I mean, it's every week you're going to have unscouted looks. You've got certainly the plays that trend every year. You've got the people that recycle through the greatest hits from the week before. Those usually seem to pop up, something that hurt you in the past. Those are the things, teams try to go back and they look at, what they think schematically is work for them, and against that, what they predict to be the scheme. I mean, those are things that people do all the time. At the end of the day, you got to trust your rules and trust your training. That's what we've tried to make it hard, and you make camp competitive. But every week there's going to be stuff that somebody throws at you, whether they have a new wrinkle they want to show in the openers, or they get to it, or they throw in zone read on you, or things like that. You got to be disciplined in your rules.
When you look back on training camp, do you feel like you accomplished everything you wanted to before Week 1?
I think every year, I mean, it's an ongoing progress. I don't think anybody ever says, "Oh, I got everything I wanted to." There's only things that come up that are out of your control. But we feel like we had a really productive camp, which gives us a chance, starting the season.
Anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, Coach, just, Desmond offensively, where you feel, his camp was and so forth, and how he, to handle things is getting ready
feel
to
pretty-
head into live action here.
Sure, I feel pretty good about it. It's another guy that's taken a lot of reps at quarterback, and that experience last year certainly pay off. There's always excitement, unknown going into week one, but when you've at least had some experience and get back into it, I feel pretty good. Got him some action in the preseason. Tried to make camp hard for him, but I feel pretty pleased where he's at.